Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RCBian Chelsea Fan TV. And I think rather than that, I better say good evening, guys. Well, I had to put that in, right? It is, after all, Chelsea against Villareal, and we had to kind of have a small pun at Unai Emery, the guy who actually coached Arsenal in the past, right? But yes, it is Super Cup time, and we had to come back with a bang, with a great panel as well. Another reason being, yes, it is the 50th episode of RCB and Chelsea Fan TV. Really proud to say that, and of course, really thankful as well, because if not for you guys, the audience, we couldn't have reached here. And of course, it's just a small but an important landmark, hoping for the support to continue. And that is all the more reason that we have two great panelists today. Of course, first, Taron, welcome back to the channel, mate. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. I'm really privileged to always be on this channel, and obviously back with Tom today. Haven't collabed with Tom in a long time, and I can see he's happy. I'm gassed. Back to me with the live chat, and yeah, I'm just excited to get into this preview.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. Taron, I know the last time we discussed, you were about to, I think you did visit Stamford Bridge. It was against Spurs. It was goosebumps watching the vlogs that you had, I think, on Mrs. channel. Great fun that I'm sure you must have enjoyed and got a lot of goosebumps. How was the experience?
Yeah, thanks. I saw all your support. I appreciate that. And yeah, Tom was at the game. Unfortunately, we couldn't link up before the game, but it didn't feel like a friendly. It was a very competitive game. It was great my first ever time personally to produce content at a game. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. So thanks for asking that.
Right. And of course, like we are discussing the Super Cup, guys, for you in the chat, and of course, anyone watching, I did go on Taron's podcast. I think it's back with a bang. And definitely, we did record the Super Cup preview there as well. So I would request you to go to the link in the description and check it out. Great, year for sure, right? So, yes, Taron, looking forward to the chat. And as we say that, I am here also to welcome, of course, Tom. First time on RCB and Chelsea Fan TV. I know Tom's been really busy, but Tom, great to have you, mate, finally back, and hopefully you will be consistently streaming for now.
Oh, mate, thank you very much for having me on. I've been super excited to be on. Been so busy. Start a new season, new vibes. I am so excited. Pleasure to be on with Taron. I absolutely love the guy. He was one of my main guys when my aborted attempt to go into the full-time content creation world. But I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm only on with the best hosts and the best guests. This channel ticks all of the boxes, and I'm so privileged to be on. Thank you so much, mate.
Well, that's very kind of you, Tom. But for guys in the chat, I'm sure like Tom doesn't need an introduction, really speaking. But because it's first time, I have to mention for people who just may not have that, kind of they're living in a cave maybe. But I have to say that, okay, Tom is basically the guy for football Twitter. He is there always, and a big Chelsea fan, definitely. And for me, it's extra special because he's a huge cricket fan as well. Of course, you guys know the RCB and Chelsea Fan TV also follows a lot of cricket, and that is where me and Tom are hoping to reconnect again. And obviously, he's been there. I think he's associated with Chelsea Social and whatnot. He's been on the BBC as well. So great, Tom. Looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying the cricket season as well, starting along, right?
Oh, I'm loving it, mate. I'm KKR, I'm afraid. I'm no RCB. Never. I'm a KKR through and through. Perth Scorchers in the Big Bash. Hampshire back home, and I have to say probably the Southern Brave or Oval Invincibles. But Test match summer's going on. I absolutely love both sports. I say football and cricket are like my two babies. They're my two things in my life that I love, and I can't ever say I love one more than the other because they're both my religion. So this sounds like the perfect place for me, I have to say.
I can relate to you for sure. I think people know that definitely. I live and breathe cricket and football both, but definitely, great stuff there. But yes, we have to kind of obviously we'll step into the Super Cup. But before that, I think the hot news today is Messi going to PSG, right? So Tom, I'll probably start with you. Like Messi going to PSG, like I know that someday had to happen, right? Messi leaving Barcelona. But what are your thoughts overall about PSG just buying people and of course Messi after all?
I think it's probably an indictment more of the whole, I suppose, financial fair play side of football that PSG is a natural location for him, I guess. It's a league where they are a very good team. They've got very, very good players. Paris is a nice place to live. And I think to be honest with you, I think it's a natural move. I'm not sure that he would have wanted to hack the Premier League at that age. I don't think any player is kind of primed to do it at 35. If I'm sure he could. But I think it really does make sense. PSG very much a show business club, having lived in Paris. I know, they have stores on the Arc de Triomphe. They're a club that kind of wants to be a fashion brand and a brand more than I'd say any club in the world. And so them signing Messi, I think fits that like perfectly from their perspective. And I think, to be honest with you, the expectations will go up. But even if they don't win the Champions League, Prasanna, as I can say, I mean, you'd think they ought to with the players they've got. But they're doing very much the Galacticos side, and them signing Messi is already a huge, huge step for that club because, they're a relatively new club in French football. People forget they're only founded in about the 70s. And they've already done so much to overtake the French heavyweights. And I think Lionel Messi is the absolute crowning achievement for them, that they've been there, they've done it, and they've now got the best.
I totally agree with you there. But Taron, quickly, now that Messi to PSG has happened, I know that it's not really announced, but I think they've already released a video giving indication that it'll be formally announced as well. But you think Lukaku not being announced is a reason for that Chelsea didn't want that to overshadow Lukaku's transfer? I don't know. Okay, I think Taron is frozen. Hopefully he'll be back. Yeah, I think maybe Tom, you can probably answer that question, right? As in Lukaku not being announced. What do you think? Taron will be back for sure.
I think with Lukaku, to be honest with you, it's snags on the paperwork, and I think to be honest, it's Chelsea have always been a club that have been quick to get a deal announced on paper, but very slow to get formal agreement and signatures signed. And I think partially Messi, but to be honest with you, I think it's more this whole waiting to get an agreement with Inter Milan. I think it's a sloth in the process. I think the club aren't that concerned if he misses a Super Cup. But what I suppose I would say is that we will want to get it done and signed by the first league game. I think it would be a bad thing if they didn't. And I think the fans will be irritated if they don't. But I think, to be honest, the club are never in a hurry when it comes to getting players announced, because we know that the season's going to start. We know we've got the player. Whether Messi's made a difference in that, I'm not too sure. I'm not that convinced he has. But if I were a betting man, and I have no inside links to the club, I have to say that these days with the size of my account, I reckon it will be tomorrow evening that Lukaku, or either tomorrow evening or Thursday morning, Lukaku will get announced, if I had to bet. But I don't want to do that.
Fair enough. So, yeah, welcome back, Taron. We were just discussing about why Lukaku is not being announced or why is it delayed, right? As in, possibly the Messi, talks, I don't know, that might be one of the reasons. But like Tom said, it's about Chelsea getting things over the line formally, and I'm sure they're making sure about every condition that apply on agreement, right? And that's what we can understand. But Taron, as you come back, I just would like to big up a few people here. A lot of people in chat, and yes, guys, thanks for joining. And definitely, yes, Tom is back to streaming, and hopefully you will enjoy his streams, going forward as well. And Taron, of course, the viewers here love Taron. But we are discussing the Super Cup, and I think first a big shout out that I would like to give is to the Blue Podcast team, because I think Josh, my friend from the Blue Podcast team, is actually going to Belfast for the game. So Josh, have fun. I know it's Northern Ireland, your place, so that's something that you would love as well. And of course, there's Chelsea Perspective, there's Dieter, always supporting the channel, Shrey, of course, and Let's Talk Ball with On, and Prasanna. Prasanna is another person who follows both cricket and football. So yes, Prasanna, we will sync up for sure. And Lionel, he's a CSK fan, by the way, just so you know. Don't want to keep Taron off the topic, but yeah, definitely the back post is here. Thanks to join as well as I believe Blue Clouds TV always supporting as well. But yes, now that we have kind of had an introduction of the panel and of course the hot topic that we're all wanting to talk about, I believe it's time to get to the Super Cup, and I would like to show you what we're going to discuss today.
Chelsea! 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 Chelsea!
Okay, so lot of things to discuss for sure. But Taron, I would like to start with you first. I know that Super Cup is always considered as one game in a season, right? And people say it's probably a preseason which is glorified in Europe. But for you, what is the significance of the Super Cup really?
Yeah, I mean, sorry about my internet a few minutes ago. I just wanted to clarify that. Hopefully it'll be all right from here onwards. But yeah, the Super Cup, people kind of say it's a preseason friendly. It's a game that you'll just play for the season, but I completely disagree to a million ways that we've never won it to my recent memory. I mean, I've never been alive when we've won it. I believe we beat Real Madrid in 1998, but I've watched us lose Atletico, lose to Bayern. It is painful to watch. It is a cup winners' cup. You want to be the best in Europe. You don't want to lose to the Europa League, winners. So I think of the Super Cup as a massive game to start the season off. You need momentum. You need to already have a cup under your belt start of the season. So I think it's massive. It's a great way to kick off. If Liverpool won it in 2020 when they beat us on penalties, they went on to win the league. A lot of teams have gone on, did well in the Super Cup, and gone on use that momentum to go and do well in the leagues and in their respective competitions. So if we win it this year, I'm very confident that we can go, a bit further in the league, a bit further and other stuff like that. It'll push us on for the Club World Cup. Will make us a bit more confident in different ways. So, like I said, I've never been alive when we've won it. I've watched us lose twice, so it's massive for me. And it feels realistic this time. It feels like we can definitely win it against a Villareal team who've done poorly in pre-season, who don't have the best manager. So, yeah, I think it is a massive deal for me. And I think of it as definitely not a pre-season game. Definitely not. I think of it as a cup final.
Absolutely. And Taron, thanks for reminding me of my age and feel me, how old I am. But yeah, as in fair enough. At least I don't remember in the last couple of decades that, we've kind of gone and, won it, because that's something that at the end of the day, it's European silverware. And, as I see it, if you win it, it's absolutely fantastic. If you lose it, you have excuses, but it is after all a European, silverware, right? So I agree with you there. But Tom, just kind of on the topic, because Taron mentioned that we are favorites for this Super Cup for sure, right? Unlike the recent times. But if we win it, let's hope we win it, touch wood. Do you see Jorginho winning third silverware in just 3 months makes him a Ballon d'Or candidate?
Oh, now that is a question, my friend. I think, if I'm honest with you, he ought to be. Same with Kante, same with many others in our squad, in fact. I think he's not the stylish player that will get even into the top 3 for Ballon d'Or. I think I would expect him to get nominated. And I think if he's not, that would be a scandal. I love Jorginho, by the way. So please don't say I've got an agenda against him. I've had people trying to tell me I don't like the guy, and I laugh. I've supported him more than anyone. I think he should be, but I never pay too much attention to individual awards, because I think the way they're decided, the way they're voted on, it doesn't always tell you who the best player in the world is. And I think the way voting is, he won't win it, to be completely honest with you. But yes, I think he ought to be considered as having one of the best players in the world this year, definitely. And as I say, I would put Kante in that bracket. I'd put, many others in our team in that bracket. But yes, I think the thing with the Super Cup is, and it's one where you always talk about whether these Super Cups, like Community Shield, whether the Club World Cup, do they count as major honours? I'd say the UEFA Super Cup probably does, actually, based off of records. So it is a major honour, yeah.
Yeah, then absolutely. Like with Jorginho, like I get where you're coming from, but yes, I actually went on. I think it was Blue Clouds TV, and we had a proper debate there, right? And I was actually for Jorginho, which is so surprising, even looking at my streams in the past. But yeah, as in for me, it's just that the way he plays and player he is kind of doesn't make him a strong candidate. But I definitely hear you there, buddy. And yes, I think. Let's look at a couple of comments here. Shrey says, agree with Taron. From dismal performance against Atletico to penalty heartaches against Bayern and Liverpool, this trophy has hurt and eluded us for long. Absolutely, and we need it. We cannot take it as friendly. Having said that, I think it's probably time to kind of remember what exactly we've been through. It is important because that kind of, gets us charged up, right, for the next. So let's take a quick look at what actually our history is in UEFA competitions and especially the Super Cup. I hope we get an ending like that, right? Tomorrow as well. But yes, Taron, to begin with you, the Atletico game, well, that was a massacre, I'm sure. Like, I don't know, like, was it, I'm sure, like, Atletico game, something that you remember, right? As in, what do you think happened there? Like, was it that we were just overconfident after winning the Champions League? Because I think Falcao was already well known and we kind of knew what he could do.
Yeah, that was prime Falcao. That was before his Man United spell. That was before his Chelsea spell. That was when he was properly up there with the top, I say, 3 strikers in Europe at the time. He was incredible back then, and you can't really blame for him ripping apart David Luiz and Cahill back then. But that season, it wasn't just a Super Cup. The start of that season, 2012-13, Di Matteo got sacked. It was a really poor kind of, I say, fairy tale ending to Di Matteo's amazing Champions League win. We brought in players like Hazard, Oscar, big names, and we just couldn't emulate that form. So it wasn't just a Super Cup win. I say that whole start of the season was just cursed. We had to get in an old rival manager to sort us out to win us the Europa League, and we still lost the Super Cup the next year. So I do feel like there has been a curse in the past for different Super Cups. Different reasons have caused different losses, but I'm very confident that we can beat Villareal. We look back to the Atletico team, they were electrifying. We look back to that Bayern Munich team, prime Neuer, prime Boateng, prime other players. Then you compare them to the 7th place in the Liga and you say they're not really a team that you should be too fearful of. So, yes, we've had a poor record in the past, but this doesn't take away that we have to win tomorrow. No excuses, no if, buts, or maybes. We forget what Falcao did to us. We forget, Lukaku missed. Hopefully, Lukaku will be back soon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't talk about that game. Let's just forget about that. And we go straight into this game with our heads held up high, forget about the past, and just get the win, boys. Get the win. We need that in our cabinet.
Right, absolutely. Like, having said that, yes, I think Taron and On kind of agree on that, and I would go with that, right? Cannot kind of disagree. But Tom, let's try and talk something positive about the past. Like, any positive memory that you have from the recent Super Cup games? Because I don't think we were favorites in all of them, right? So anything that you would take from there?
No, so Chelsea have a horrendous record in Super Cup. I mean, we've not won a Super Cup since the 2009 Community Shield. And I was at that game, in fact. I believe we won it on penalties. And that was a last-minute equaliser from Ryan Giggs, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Prasanna, you make a great point. I was gonna come on to that buy-in game. We were rank underdogs. You know, we just won Europa League. We were a new team. We just got Mourinho. But this was Bayern newly with Pep. That team had done brilliantly under Heinkes, and we had a go, and we were absolutely outstanding that night. Really unlucky to lose on pens, and the guy that missed that pen might just be in blue again this season. And then obviously on to Liverpool, where again I thought we were outstanding. 2019, Lampard, he played very much the kind of Sarri tactics, Kante, Jorg, Kova. And again, I thought we were outstanding. Came very, very close to winning that one. I think we should have won it in ordinary time. If I remember, there was a goal ruled out that shouldn't have been ruled out.
Pulisic got an offside goal, yes.
That was it. And again, unlucky to lose on pens. Tammy, player who sadly looks like he's off, which will make me sad. But I think we've got to stop the Super Cup rot, because I don't care what anyone says. If you lose one of those things, all that feel good and winning mentality you had, it can go out the window. And these players aren't necessarily mentally the strongest. So I want us to win, keep up the positive vibes into the new season, start as we mean to go on very much, and take that trophy home.
Absolutely. I don't know, guys in the chat, like if you have any other memory of the Super Cup. For me, like I kind of started following football in 98-2000 era, right? So for me, definitely the heroes were the Gus Poyet of the likes. And of course, Gus Poyet, got that winner, I think, at Real Madrid in 98, where he scored from outside the box. I think, that is something I think probably the Chelsea players should be shown, I feel, because just the importance and get the adrenaline, get it running, right? And of course, like even though we lost against Bayern and against Liverpool, I believe we are the only side to have lost in the Super Cup on penalties, and that's twice. So that's only positive, right? As in, that's what I would say. Like trying to get positives out of whatever little we have, but I think that's how it is. Sometimes it goes. But yes, just looking at the comments again, I think Tammy missed 1-2 chances against Liverpool even before the penalty shootout. Once we got the equalizer, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I think it was Tammy's first season technically with Chelsea, so I think that's something that we should probably give him the benefit of the doubt, right? But yes, we have looked at the history, guys, but that is where Tammy and of course the rest of the players come. So let's talk about basically how the squad kind of matters when it comes to the transfer window being open. So let's go to the next topic quickly. A lot of transfer talk to be discussed amid the Super Cup, which is coming tomorrow. But yes, before that, I'd like to big up a couple of people more. Of course, Riz Sports is here. Riz Sports always supporting the channel. Being a Man United supporter, I really appreciate you coming here. But of course, I'm sure it's the beginning of the season and everyone is buzzing, right? And it's fair enough. And of course, Lionel says he was in Istanbul and watched Tammy miss. Horrible memory, yeah, for us all, right? But talking about Tammy Taron, like, of course, the latest links, I think it's almost been reported that I think Tammy is having strong interest from Roma, and I believe the fee is about £34 million, with Roma probably paying $5 million upfront and then probably in bits and pieces to us. But Taron, surprised Jose Mourinho going for a youngster from Chelsea?
It's kind of like the complete opposite to what he was as a manager at Chelsea. I don't remember any young players he really gave a chance. Maybe Loftus-Cheek in the 15-16 season a little bit, but apart from that, not really a lot of players that he brought in. So, Abraham to Roma does, Alenta would have made more sense to me. I don't really understand. He likes a player who can drop deep a lot, who can hold up the ball very well. Abraham is more of a goal scorer. I'd say he's not really a complete target man. I'm a little bit confused by Mourinho going for Tammy Abraham, to be honest. But yeah, like you said, it looks like a €5 million upfront fee and an obligation to buy of 30 million euros. So yeah, I mean, the money is there. If Mourinho wants him, I'm sure the Roma board are going to back him. They paid this much money to have a massive manager. So obviously they're going to back him. But the thing I don't get about Jose, he needs defenders more than attackers. We saw at Spurs, he brought in Gareth Bale. He brought in all these other attackers, Steven Bergwijn, but he needed better centre-backs than Eric Dyer and Toby Alderweireld. So it doesn't really make sense for him to splash, what I'm assuming is a massive part of Roma's budget on a striker, but I prefer him to go for, Kurt Zouma or someone else like that. I know some of you are probably big fans, but it makes more sense to go for a Kurt Zouma, go for a Trevor Chalobah on loan instead of a striker. Doesn't really seem to fit in. But this deal is like very imminent right now. It's just about Tammy agreeing the deal, which if he has any ambition, he wants to try a new challenge, I'd say you go to Rome, you work under one of the best coaches of our era, you learn how to play in a low block like that, and you can adapt to any system. So yeah, Tammy should really accept this in my opinion, and he should not go to Arsenal. I do not want to see him in an Arsenal kit. I want him to develop under our ex-manager. And like you said, it's a very imminent deal, and I don't know if it should. I don't know about it, to be honest. It's a bit of a sticky one.
Yeah, talking about Arsenal, we actually have an Arsenal fan right here. Big up to Miss Melina. As in, I don't know, guys in the chat, of course, Mel, including you. If anyone would like to see, Tammy play in England, probably, I'm sure that would be his preferred destination if he really, has a choice, knowing his family are Arsenal fans. But would you see that, or would you see realistically Jose Mourinho managing him? I don't know. It's kind of between the devil and deep blue sea for me, as if you ask me, because Jose Mourinho with youngsters and Arsenal, I don't know. I think the big news, Tom, was the fact that just today I heard, I don't know, it might be a rumor, but I think Manchester United have Martial linked to Inter Milan. That came about all of a sudden today. I don't know if that's really happening. That's maybe one reason why the domino effect that we were expecting is not happening, and Roma is probably going for Tammy. You think that's the case? You're on mute.
Ooh, I'm on mute, aren't I? I think it's a big cycle, and sometimes a transfer can kind of create a mountain of deals. And you can see with Roma that they are going to sell probably Edin Dzeko to Inter to replace Lukaku. And then there's that whole domino that Roma then need to replace Dzeko. And that's where I think Tammy would potentially fit. Now, I also, like you guys, have my doubts about Mourinho with Tammy. I don't think necessarily it would be the best system for him. I think Italian football in general would be great for him. And I think if I were Tammy, I would be going for Atalanta, because I think Gianpiero Gasperini is an outstanding manager. He plays attacking football till the cows come home. There won't be as much expectation on him. I don't think as many people will be watching him, but he'll have Champions League football. He'll have a team that's coming third, second in Serie A very regularly. And I think that's perfect for him, to be honest with you. A perfect place to develop. And then if he does well, he can come back and he can take his pick of the top 4 clubs in England, a bit like Sancho did. And I think to see English players go abroad, from my perspective as a kind of proud Englishman, I suppose, is I very much like it. I think we're probably the worst country in Europe for players going abroad to have different styles and different perspectives on the game. And Tammy would be perfect for that. But in terms of Martial, and I will go back to Martial, I have a feeling that deal won't happen, because I think United will price Inter out. I think Inter don't have money. I don't think Zhang, I think it is who owns them, will provide the money or the wage packet for Martial. I think Martial is on a pretty high package at United. Remember, they signed him as a kid. He was so highly rated that they'd have given him a big deal. So for me, I think it will be Dzeko. Yeah, Dieter, great seeing you on. I think Roma would be a good fit for Abraham, though. But do you think Jose's style is for Tammy? Now, that would be my question to you, Dieter. Taron, I see you kind of shaking your head. I mean, what's your view on that? Because I'd like to see, like, I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh on Jose here, and actually Tammy would be brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said earlier, Harry Kane really benefited under Mourinho. He's a target man. He dropped deep. He played as a false nine. He had Ndombele to drive through the midfield. And, you know, Abraham, we've seen at Chelsea, he's a great, I say, poacher in the box. But as a target man, his touch isn't great. For a big guy, his heading isn't great. He's not great at linking up play, I'd say, necessarily. So whether Mourinho wants to develop him into a great player, like he did with Kane, I wouldn't say Kane was a target man and a kind of false nine before under Pochettino, but Mourinho developed him into that. So maybe Mourinho has seen Tammy as a raw talent who he can really up all of these levels into a top striker. And he's seen that. He wants to invest the money into him. So that's how I kind of see it. And yeah, Edin Dzeko looks like he's imminently about to go to Inter Milan. Boya Mayoral is not a massive striker for them right now. And, you know, Tammy linking up with Pedro again, could that be something we see? Linking up with Henrik Mkhitaryan, linking up with Nicolo Zaniolo. It could be a very, very interesting link up. And we saw Tammy in a 4-2-3-1 under Frank Lampard in, was it 1920 season? He was amazing at the start of that season, you know, with the cam behind him to link up the play, with two wingers to play to as well, to put balls into the box. And you think Mourinho's football relies a lot on crossing as well. And Tammy could potentially improve his game to get onto the crosses. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a great deal if you think about it, Tom. It's a great question.
Yeah, then this is definitely, you know, like I said, it's basically two difficult choices. But I think the ball is in Tammy's court. Like, I think Chelsea will probably allow him to have some kind of a say there, hopefully. And wish him all the best is what we can say, right? But yes, Tom, let's kind of quickly move to midfield as well, because I think midfield is interesting because, you know, we let Billy Gilmore go. And I know Taron and me have spoken on the channel with a couple of others as well, but I would like to hear your views about Ruben Loftus-Cheek being that potential number 6, or do you see, you know, Chouameni, who's someone who's more defensive-minded, you know, coming in? Like, what's your call in this?
My call in terms of defence and Roma, as you say, I followed Roma a decent bit last season under Fonseca. I can never pronounce it properly. And I know they played a 3-back last season, and I don't think that will be the case this year under Jose. I think he'll be very much 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. I think I've tracked their preseason games. I looked through their defence, and from memory, they've got probably Kolarov on the left, who they'll be happy with because he's one of the best in Serie A. They've got Smalling as centre-back, who I think for Serie A is a very effective player, whether you especially like him or not. And then they've got a few, what I would say, kind of lower-tier Italian defence. They've got Mancini as centre-back, and I think they've got Bruno Perez, who they've had there a while. And then right back, off the top of my head, I've completely forgotten. But I think, yes, I mean, I think they could do with a top centre-back. And as Taron was saying, Zouma's perfect for him. But
Ruben Loftus-Cheek, like, do you see him probably getting a loan move to Italy? Because, again, we have been linked to Germany, right? But Loftus-Cheek, I think he was linked briefly, I think, with Sarri going to Italy. Yeah, but because I think the talk again started yesterday because of the fact that I think Loftus-Cheek wasn't in the initial provisional squad for the Super Cup. And then I think today Tuchel went on record saying that he actually, you know, has divided the loan players into people who would probably go on loan and people who would stay, except for Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Trevor Chalobah. So it's very interesting that these two players, he's still undecided. So that's what I was asking. Like, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek potentially going to go like to a Roma or any other team, and we get so many?
Apologies. Yeah, I think I got a bit mixed up there. I would say if Loftus-Cheek were to go on loan, I would like him to go to Italy. Yes, and I think Sarri would definitely take him in that 4-3-3. I think he's got Milinkovic-Savic. He's got a really nice midfield three. He's got Luis Alberto, who's more of an attacking midfielder. So then Loftus-Cheek, I think, would be a really nice counterbalance in there. Whether he wants to take that on, is always a different thing because lots of English players don't fancy it, understandably. You know, we've got high quality football on our doorstep. But yes, in an ideal world, I think Sarri, he knows Loftus-Cheek's qualities. I think it would be the perfect move for him. But as I say, I think the ball's very much in the court of the player on this one, to be completely honest with you. Because I'm not convinced that Tuchel is going to keep him this season. If I were a betting man, I would say no. I think he will
Okay.
be on loan.
Guys, you heard it there. And then don't put your money on Loftus-Cheek, being in Chelsea. But yeah, and then it's just kind of, we're just calling it. Let's see, how it goes. But yes, Taron, talking about defense, right? Because I think briefly Tom did speak about the defense as well. Like, again, like we've been linked to Kounde for the last couple of weeks, it being imminent, and then suddenly, the focus went on Lukaku with Haaland, not happening. But you think, Taron, one of the reasons that Kounde is probably cooled off is the fact that Zouma has had, I think, very good performances in the preseason, as well as Trevor Chalobah, like we were just briefly discussing, or is it just a matter of time?
No, I don't think it's anything to do with Zouma. It's clear that Thomas Tuchel doesn't fancy Zouma, and that's to be frankly honest. I don't think Zuma's his abilities, what he can do. I think he's suited to playing in the low block system, similar to Mourinho. I think he'd be perfect at Roma and Mourinho, but he's not the best on the ball, I'd say. He's not very good at progressing the ball forward. He's quite suspect on the ball at times, but that doesn't take away all of his other abilities. He's absolutely amazing at tracking runs in behind, at destroying play all the time. So yeah, I mean, I don't think Kounde not being announced has anything to do with Zouma or Trevor Chalobah. Chalobah is looking to be, according to Nizar Cancella, is going to be shipped down loan very soon. Kurt Zouma needs to leave for Kounde to come in, but I think the main factor is that they haven't found the suitor for Zouma yet. Zouma had negotiation problems with West Ham. He doesn't want to go to Sevilla as a swap deal, so it's more about finding a deal that suits Zouma. He's been a great suitor for our club for 6 years or so. There's no point of forcing him, shipping him out like he's a piece of rubbish almost. Let's treat him fairly. Let's treat him the way he has been for our club. Let's find a move that suits him, his family, everything like that. Then we can look at buying Jules Kounde, because for me, Jules Kounde is everything you need in a Thomas Tuchel, left or right centre-back system. He's great on the ball. If you saw his goal against Barcelona, superb. He's so good at reading play. He's so quick, so good in the air, despite being 5'9". So yeah, I think the move for Kounde is going to be secured after Lukaku. And once there is talks of Zuma's West Ham deals start to speed up now, which could be a new kind of thing according to Absolute Chelsea. So that could be talks. But for me, the main factor is Kurt Zuma's not found a good suitor yet. And once he does eventually leave, which I definitely think he will, Kounde will be literally a matter of days until he will be announced in the Chelsea shirt.
Yeah, fair point. That because I think I was actually hoping to get at least one deal done before the Super Cup. But yeah, let's look at this comment. Tom, I think Moriba, from Barcelona, if I'm not wrong, we are linked with. And he's a young central midfielder. I believe so. He's probably in the mold of a Loftus-Cheek, in between a Loftus-Cheek or Camavinga. He's not really a defensive midfielder, not really an attacking midfielder, someone who can do both things, but is learning. What do you think about us investing in more youth with Gilmour and Gallagher kind of being there? I know this is an evergreen question for all Chelsea fans, but that's something that we'll have to deal with, right?
I'll have to fess up and say I've not really seen Moriba play football. And for that, I'm going to be very, very reluctant to make any comments on how good he is and whether he's better than Gilmour and Gallagher, because I just don't know. In terms of Gilmour and Gallagher themselves, I think both of them have got fantastic loans this season. And I think there's a clear pathway into the first team for both. So I certainly think we're not giving up on those guys. I think they're very, very much part of the plans. It's very important that they get those loan deals at Premier League clubs under their belts. And I think particularly for Gilmour, he's going to be one of the standout players for Norwich City this season. So no, I think very much those guys are part of our plans, and Moriba would be a slightly younger prospect, maybe for a few years afterwards, and maybe one we develop into a Premier League footballer. But as I say, I don't want to say too much about him because I'm not going to be one of those guys that claims they know everything about a player who, for me, I just haven't seen. So yeah.
No, fair point, definitely. Again, even I have not seen much of Moriba, but the fact being that we are kind of dealing, that way, right? We always invest in youth, and whoever kind of comes through the best is someone who kind of automatically comes up, as we have started seeing in recent years. Of course, there was a ban in the recent past, but I think we'll quickly get back to the striking position because that's something that Chelsea really need to strengthen is what the talk is from the last couple of months, right? But Taron, Broja going to Southampton, and wish him all the best as well. But do you see that move kind of fitting him for well, because Danny is moved, so obviously that gives him a lot of chance, right?
I think it's a fantastic loan. Honestly, I think Ralph Hasenhüttl is a great benefactor for youth players. He showed a lot of faith in a lot of players last year, like Nathan Teller, like a lot of other players. And one got a red card at Man United when they lost 9-0, but that's not important. Hasenhüttl, even at Red Bull Leipzig, he brought in a lot of players. Timo Werner, when he was very young, he paid him a lot after he signed from Stuttgart. So, I think it's a perfect loan. Obviously, Danny Ings has gone. They've just signed Adam Armstrong from Blackburn, who's not a stat and stone striker who will definitely start. So it's all there to fight. Che Adams is definitely one of the positions. Theo Walcott can play there. Nathan Teller can play there. But between Broja and Armstrong to fight out for another place in the team. And Broja has been so good in pre-season that a lot of clubs were after him. Udinese were very close to him. But I think a Premier League loan is perfect. He's going to be playing this league next year, I believe. So it's good to get some experience in this league, play up against some massive strikers, get used to the physicality of the league, and he's going to be doing that week in, week out. So I don't think he's going to be playing, 30, 35 games a season, but if he can play 25 games, get some games off the bench, start some massive games and show what he's all about, which we've already seen, then I think it's a perfect loan. Like I said, the Premier League, where else to develop other than the Premier League playing under a youth developing manager? I think it's a great loan. And, I rate Broja really highly after that Bournemouth game. I watched a lot of his highlights of Vitesse Arnhem. I saw a game against Ajax that he was, amazing against Per Schurz and a few other players. For Ajax, he was very, very good. So, honestly, Broja, this is the perfect loan. Leeds, Lewis Bates got a great loan at Leeds. That's perfect. Billy Gilmore's got a great loan at Norwich. Broja's got a great loan at Southampton. Livramento is Beta left to a Leeds. These players have all got great kind of transfers and great loans. So I feel like it's a lot of credit to the club that we're not just putting them out to, championship clubs. We're not putting them out to, weekend clubs. We're putting them straight into the deep end, develop here or go home. And I love that from the club. They're doing it in the hard way. And yeah, Udinese will fight against relegation. Even Southampton, in my opinion, could be fighting against relegation this year without Danny Ings and their poor squad depth. But I think Broja in this team, compared to the other strikers, he's better than Nathan Teller, in my opinion. He can definitely compete with Adam Armstrong. He can definitely compete with Theo Walcott. So what's more to ask from this loan?
Absolutely, great points made there, guys. But yes, we've spoken about a lot of transfers. Let's hope that the main transfer is actually happening behind the scenes as we are speaking. And you never know. We kind of get an announcement tomorrow, morning of. I know he won't be eligible, Lukaku, that is, for the Super Cup if he's announced tomorrow. But I think that will be a great boost to the side. I genuinely feel that I know he missed the important penalty in the past, but someone like Lukaku getting announced on the day of the Super Cup final is huge. And with that, let's move on to the next portion of the Super Cup, and that is about talking about both the teams. So just give me a quick second. I'm just trying to play the next section. Yeah. Okay, so before we start, guys, I think there are a couple of people who might have joined the stream first time on RCBian Chelsea Fan TV. So please consider subscribing as well as smashing the like button. The more people we have, the more discussion we're going to have. And I'm sure you guys are enjoying Tom and Taron as well, right? Firstly, thanks for joining as well. And definitely the people out there would probably say the same. But yes, coming to the preseason form that, Chelsea comes with. Tom, I'll probably start with you. Chelsea, we've won 3 and we've drawn 1 game. Whom do you think will be the player of the preseason? Who probably is the form player? Ziyech? Anyone else that stands out?
Yeah, I think Hakim Ziyech has been our best player in terms of the kind of first team squad. It's helped that he's been there the whole time. I think very much when it's an international break preseason, there's been there's a kind of influx of players. I remember the last time after the World Cup in 2018, we had it. Hazard didn't play the first few games. So, Yeah, I mean, Ziyech has definitely been one because he's been there for a while. I think, and I'm going to get called out for this, I'm sure, the games that Danny Drinkwater has played in pre-season, he's been really good. And I'm not saying he's Chelsea level. I don't think he is, and I don't think he should stay at the club. But in a weird way, I would say he might be a candidate for our player of pre-season in some ways because he's not going to be around and his games were kind of exhibition games in a way. So I suppose I might go for a bit of a wild card there, actually.
Wow, that's a great call. Like, guys in the chat, please comment. Danny Drinkwater, the player of the preseason. I think we've had in the past. Ross Barkley has kind of been a player of the preseason. Victor Moses has. So, why not Danny Drinkwater, right? But Taron, anything that stood out in preseason for you, for Chelsea? Like something new that you saw?
Like I said in the previous team, it's just the pressing. Honestly, even like live in the flesh, I'm watching it last season. The pressing was really good, but now it looks like literally like a pack of wolves hunting the team. And Abraham alluded to it in a pre-match and a post-match presser. Thomas Tuchel, that he's been working on it massively, even with the fringe players. So this season, I'm expecting if teams win the ball back against us, literally pray and hope. Literally just pray and hope because we're going to hunt them like wolves win the ball back. And a few players, Hudson-Odoi had a very good preseason. Hakim Ziyech has had an amazing preseason. And, Trevor Chalobah has had a great preseason. And, yeah, look at this team. This is probably the team for the Super Cup. And I believe it will be the starting lineup, maybe with Trevor Chalobah coming in, possibly. But apart from that, this is a great team. And mostly, I say the pressing has really stood out to me. And Hakim Ziyech's been world-class.
Absolutely. And Tom, I'll just quickly show, basically, this is what I predicted to be the Super Cup 11 because this was close to basically the last preseason game that we had against Spurs. I know there was an in-house game, but probably the Spurs game had 10 of these starting. And I think most of our players, as in the big shots, so as to speak, Jorginho's, Mason Mounts of the world, have not had match practice. So, Tom, do you see any major changes to start tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and it's a very difficult game to call in terms of starting because you don't know if Thomas Tuchel's basically ruled out a number of players on fitness grounds like Asp. I think he would rather have Asp as wing back than Hudson-Odoi, if I'm honest, in the first game of the season. I think again Christensen, he was in the Euro semis. I can't for the life of me remember if he played against Spurs or if he came off the bench. You might help me, Taron. Did he start that? No, he didn't. Did he?
He was nothing to do with that game, unfortunately. Yeah, he wasn't involved.
Well, my gut feeling would be that I don't reckon he would throw Christensen in, but then will he take the plunge and give it to Chalobah?
That's the key. The only reason why I put Christensen is because of the fact that I think I saw the training pictures today and I saw Christensen, rigorously training. That's all I can say. But yeah, I get your point.
It's not a bad call on your part. It's more not really knowing what it is that Tuchel might do. If I'm completely honest with you, it's my guess is as good as you guys.
Absolutely. Guys in the chat, predict your starting 11s. I've gone for Christensen. Tom feels that Christensen might be a doubt. Azpilicueta probably being a captain, has a fair shout. I kind of agree there, having, rethought about that. But yes, Taron quickly, Villareal, I think their preseason has been atrocious. I think they've lost all their games except for one. And they've got a couple of red cards. I think one being a straight red with Nino, obviously, injuring Fofana. But I think the right midfielder that you see blank here is not blank, actually. It's, I think, their right winger, who's Pino, who was basically not there in the website I was using. So, yeah, he's probably expected because he is a great youngster. But any major changes? What do you think is a tactic for Villareal? I know they'll probably play a low block, right?
Yeah, I'm expecting a low block. And in pre-season, they drew a Leeds 2-2. They lost 3-2 to Leicester. And I believe they played Marseille, some team like that. Olympic Lyon, and they drew 2-2. So they've had a really poor preseason. The players like Samuel Chukwueze is not there. Pau Torres obviously is on the Euros break. Geronimo Rulli, their penalty hero in the Europa League final, is not apparent. So from the current group of players they have now, I'm expecting them to play a low block. They do not have the players to attack Chelsea, to infiltrate such a strong defence. And yeah, I don't expect much of Villareal. So hopefully as well as back to me. yeah, that's what I'm going to say with the game. And I predict 3-0 win for the Chelsea.
Wow, 3-0. That's great. I think that's a great way to end it because, yes, a prediction is something that we want, and 3-0 is a positive prediction. Tom, quickly, I'll take your predictions as well. I think you're on mute, mate.
I am on mute. Had to happen again, eh? 1-0 to Chelsea. 1-0 to
1-0.
Chelsea. That's all I'm going to
You
say.
know what? Yeah, probably I'll go in the middle 2-0, but I can see Kai Havertz scoring again and maybe Pulisic coming off the bench and scoring. That would be excellent, right? But yes, I think Villareal have made a few signings, so let's hope that Lukaku is also in just in time. Their signings are expected to play, and they'll probably not be their first team really because they are new as well to the team. So hopefully we'll take advantage. And although we may not play the first team, we have our unit close together for a while now under Tuchel. So that's what we'll hope. And guys in the chat, I would like to see your predictions and let's see who gets it right. But yes, great chat. Thanks for your time, Taron and Tom. We discussed a lot of things. I can go on forever, but I'm sure there are other things that all of us want to do. Firstly, Taron, coming to you. Great coming on your podcast as well yesterday, but looking forward to the season and anything that you would like to add to the chat or me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. That's the main thing I want to echo. I mean, in the last room, I kind of said the wrong thing. I said it's a pleasure for you to have me on, but I meant it the other way around. And, it's always a pleasure. This channel, you can see all the little clips in the middle, so well organized. Ankit, you're a great host. You're going to go very far in the future with your hosting. And, it's been great to come back on with Tom. Obviously, back-to-back streams today. It's all like we haven't seen each other in months and now it's all cramped together. Absolutely love it. So I'm very excited for the season. Chelsea, obviously, we're signing hopefully signing a big striker very, very soon. And it's going to be a great season. But mostly, thanks for having me on. And you'll definitely be back on the pod very, very soon.
Absolutely. You know what? It's great to discuss football with you. And of course, our Chelsea community is huge. Like people in the chat here, right? I think, again, let's talk ball with On. We have Blue Clouds TV. We have Chelsea Perspective, Prasanna. I think I'm probably missing out on names. Lionel. I think I'm probably following Mrs. channel the most. And looking at you guys talk and of course discussing with you is probably gives me immense pleasure as well. So I would love that anytime. And Tom, fantastic experience having you on the channel. Would love to discuss cricket as well. That's something I'm looking forward to. Once probably India beats England, but I think that's probably somewhere I'll not go. But having said that, Tom, anything that you would like to add, plug in, feel free to.
I wouldn't go there, my friend. I would not be going there, but I would have to agree with you. I think England's test team, they're clapped out, unfortunately. But football for me till Thursday morning. All Chelsea. Have a great one, guys. All love. And it's my pleasure being on. I'm really honoured to be on any stream. I'll come on any stream I'm invited to. And it's absolutely my pleasure. It's been ages. It's been a long time coming. Thank you so much for having me, mate.
Big up, guys, and everyone. Take care. Have a good one. And thanks for joining. Smash that like button and please share. We'll be back with more content here. Take care, everyone.